Let us discuss another way to look at ability to transact and the options, and to evaluate in terms of convenience as opposed to in exchange for trust. So what do we mean by this? So something that's very convenient is something that's very easy to use. It doesn't cause you headaches. You don't have to do a lot of extra work. It's easy. It's simple. It doesn't take much time. It's efficient in that regard. But it's also about the acceptance, and the availability where you can use it. So if it's very easy to use, but almost nobody accepts it, and maybe that's not actually that convenient. And the other way around also works. If it's something that's universally accepted, that increases the convenience. And trust is about how much do you trust in that option. Do you trust like it will always be there for you no matter what? Or does someone else control it? Is it controlled by a bank? Or maybe not just controlled, but also by their ability to provide their services. So do you rely on third party? Do you rely on a bank, on a card provider? Can there be an interference from third parties, such as the government, for example? Can the government say, no, we block this, so you cannot do that anymore? Is that possible for them? So that has an effect on the trust as well. So let us consider a few different options. So for example, when you have cash, that has quite high convenience. Maybe it's not as convenient as nowadays paying by your phone or paying by card, but it's fairly convenient. The trust is, I would say, somewhere medium. So you need to have trust in people accepting cash, which for now still is quite widespread, but that is decreasing somewhat lately. And it's also about a trust in the currency itself, that it will hold the value. But it's a fairly high trust because there's not a lot of interference that you can receive from outside. Now let's look at paying by card, whether that is a card on your phone or a card that you have physically in your wallet. So in either case, it's something that's you rely on a bank and you rely on the card provider. And also there is a possibility for government interference. And if it's a card in your phone, that has the additional aspect that there is also the phone company involved. Can they maybe interfere? So all these aspects, they decrease the trust. So perhaps it has a good track record so far. So the trust is somewhat high for you right now. But if you consider the potential, then it should actually be quite low. So let's give it a benefit of doubt, and we can say it's somewhat medium trust. Convenience is, of course, extremely high. Now let's consider crypto. So crypto is extremely convenient nowadays. It's as easy as paying by your phone, but it's not widely accepted, at least not yet. So in that regard, that's quite low because it might be hard pressed to find people who will accept it. You might have to take steps in between to make sure that you can pay with it. So in that regard, it's very inconvenient. So it's quite low convenience. Trust, on the other hand, is extremely high because the only one that can kind of course, it's mostly about yourself. You're fully in control. That also means the responsibility is with yourself. So you don't have to worry about interference from third parties. You also don't have to worry about a bank or card company going bust or their services not being available. But you might have to worry about hacking or you making mistakes more than with banking because there's no one else cover you. It's with yourself. Still, if you do have trust with yourself, the trust should be very high in this case. So these were some of the most obvious examples. So you can think of that and you can think which options are most suitable for you. For us, and for myself certainly, it's about having options. It's about having backups, about having redundancies, to not rely on just one option. So don't just think, oh, this is convenient, so I will just use that. Think also about the trust. And maybe the thing that has the most trust has actually lower convenience, so that kind of then you can use the high trust, low convenience as a nice backup, and your primary method can be something with low to mid trust but high convenience, for example. So you can kind of build a portfolio of transaction options this way.